Hey everyone, this is Jordan, and welcome back to Sith Saber Props. Today I have another lightsaber install to present to you, and this one is a very special install. This is a very personal hilt to me. This was my first ever illuminated lightsaber hilt. I got it about 5 to 7 years ago now. I think it was probably 7 years ago now, and it was my first ever LED lightsaber hilt. I got it vented for sound at the time, assuming I'd someday install it. And this was before a couple years before I even installed any saber. And it was just a plain stunt saber with a single red Kree, and it lasted me years, and I love it. Personally, I am not a huge fan of Ultra Saber's hilts. They tend to be on the larger side, and I have, small to medium-sized hands. I'm a kind of small person, around 5'8". So, going through their catalog of lightsaber hilts way back when, and even now, really, the Bellicose is the one hilt they have that speaks to me. I absolutely love its design, the different widths for all of the lines, how they go thin to thick to slightly less thick, then thick again, and then very thick. It's a very nice and attractive hilt. It's a single switch hilt, and that has been kept the same in this new install, but I went ahead and had to make a very modified switch, and you'll see that in a moment. But I even have my initials carved in Orabesh here from years ago. It's a very nice hilt, it's very sturdy, and it's extremely solid, and it's really one of the, most personal possessions to me. It's not my personal hilt anymore. That would be my fallen hilt, but this really is one of the most personal possessions I own, and I'm happy that I was finally able to install it. So let's go ahead and just quickly boot up the saber. Here we have Mad Cow's Revenge. It's using the Crystal Focus 10 in the single switch mode. Short hold. Turns the saber off. Press. On. Single press. Blaster deflection. When you hit the saber and you press it at the same time and hold it, blade lock up, so let's see if we can get that. And then force effects. So it's very easy to use. Now, what's special about this install is I want all my personal lightsaber hilts to have a crystal chassis. This is one large hilt. It cannot necessarily accommodate a crystal chassis in any of the normal ways. However, years ago, there was a sabersmith in the community, Arclight Arsenal, and he did a number of very nice chassis. A lot of which are not really of the same kind of design as this, but of course those were used as inspiration for how I designed this chassis for this saber. So what we're going to go ahead and do is unscrew this thumb screw all the way. And we're just going to go ahead and slide out the entire crystal chassis. It's a very, very nice chassis in my opinion. It's actually 3 layers of hand-carved PVC. I could 3D print it, but I actually started this project about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago now, and I had the pieces, and this weekend I kind of realized that if I didn't start now, I wasn't going to get it done, so I actually going from all of the raw PVC yesterday to creating the crystal chamber and doing the full install, it only took me 1 day to get all of this complete. So here's our crystal chamber. It's just a single red crystal, hand-carved quartz. We have 2 metal pieces here from some Ultra Saber's heat sink parts, actually. This one being shaved down in brass bars that holds the 4 wires for the LED. Now, this is actually just a, I originally had red, green, and blue set up in here, but now I just have red, red, white. So there's 4 wires, the common positive wire going back down here, and then the 2 reds, and then the wire for the white. But it's a very simple chassis. Here's our switch. So as far as chassis go, I designed this with the Graflex Master Chassis in mind. There's a lot of Master Chassis for the Graflex hilts out there now. Everyone's trying to one-up each other and trying to make the perfect Graflex chassis, and they are typically these multi-piece metal, 3D printed metal chassis with, you know, aluminum and then gold and very attractive design. So I kind of replicated that in this outer sleeve of my chassis. You know, it's not the most perfect replication, but it actually serves its purpose, and it gets the job done rather nicely, I think, with the deep set lines and the, you know, the data lines and the LEDs and then a recharge port right there. I don't normally put a kill key in this. I just leave it to go ahead and go into its deep sleep mode. But let's go ahead and boot it up again. Here we have calibrate. Perfect crystal chamber sound font, in my opinion. Now, what was difficult about this entire crystal chassis install was the switch itself. How do I go ahead and have a full slide out chassis when a lightsaber switch is normally wired and connected to the lightsaber hilt? Well, I had to make a fake button here. Now, what I actually did was I took the knurled knob piece right here that comes on standard on all Bellicose hilts. It's actually attached up here with a fake red button cap, and I took it off, and I went ahead and I used a red 832 set screw available from the custom saber shop, and I added a spring in between the set screw and the knurled knob piece, and then on the bottom of that I actually just went ahead and added a little washer, and I made sure it's extremely tight, and then I Loctited that in place. So what you have now is a fake switch. And how it works is you go ahead and you just slide the chassis in and you lock it in place with your set screw, and then you just have the fake switch acting as an intermediary between your finger and the real switch right here. It's actually a super simple way and very effective way of going ahead and doing this type of chassis, and I'm very happy it worked out. On most tilts, that really wouldn't work out, considering, you know, how small a chassis needs to be to fit inside the hilt, but this hilt has a very large interior diameter, as is the case with most Ultra Sabers hilts, so it all worked out very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at this again. Long press, sound bake selection. Now, I'm sure you're wondering how we go ahead and get through the, sound fonts if you only have one button. Well, you just use the menu gestures. As you can see, clockwise goes forward, counterclockwise, back. Let's go ahead and do revenge. Let's just turn on. It's like its own independent lightsaber in this way. It's actually very comfortable to hold. So let's go ahead and show you how it all really works. Take this. We slide it all in again. We go ahead and we thread the chassis into place. Should be good. And it's a very effective way of doing a chassis. I'm very happy with the end result. I'm happy that I got my first ever saber finally installed after so many years. I haven't even done any basic install on this. I gutted it 3-4 years ago of the original AAA, quad AAA battery pack and the single red LED, and I put those in something else, and I just had it sitting empty in one of my saber cases, and I'm very glad I'm finally able to have this as a working lightsaber. Okay, so that's my Ultra Sabers Bellicose full crystal chassis install. I'm once again very, very pleased with this. This was my first ever illuminated lightsaber I bought years and years ago. I remember getting home from school every single day for about 2 weeks, immediately running to the front door to check to see if the box was there. And the day it was there, I was so amazed. Only a couple months later, about a month later, I got a Anakin Episode 3 Force Effects saber. And even though that one had lights and sounds to it, it couldn't compare to how excited and in love I was with this saber. Even though this just had a single red LED and no sound and a big old latching switch on it instead of something subtle like the sliding switch, it was leagues and bounds above what I expected, and it was the best first way to get into the hobby. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a nice day, and may the Force serve you well.